hero who shattered the wheel and brought salvation to the world.
Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining me as we once more dive into the latest of the variant dungeons. This time we're returning to Mount Rokkon. So this is going to be a very special guide on how to collect all 12 notes that you're going to be needing from this very special mountain, which has been infested with all manner of demons, spirits, or Mononoke if you prefer. So just in case you're not aware, the variant dungeons are a very unique duty where you can join either solo or with a group of up to 4 players, and you are given a choice to take multiple different routes. There are 12 different outcomes on Mount Rokkon altogether, and each ending is decided by which path you and your party will take and the actions that are performed along the way. Each track awards a symbol of completion, which is known as the Mount Rokkon Exorcism Record. And once you finish all 12 routes, you are granted a special mount. This time we have the Burabura Chochin Mount, which is an ominous looking paper lantern that hopefully doesn't get the urge to eat us whole. So this particular variant dungeon, we run through it with Hancock of all people. And he kind of has a journal that he keeps with him, and every time we complete one of the routes, we are given a special page. So just think of collecting each one of these notes as pages for his journal. Once Mount Rokkon is unlocked, you can head in with either a random party, with a party of up to 4 people, or you can even solo it. It is definitely possible to do it solo. Now, the first choice for players to make is that you need to decide which one of the 3 portals that you're going to take. At the end of each one of these paths, there is going to be a very different but powerful boss waiting for you, but there's also a 4th secret boss, and I will explain how to unlock that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start in order with notes 1 through 4. Those notes can only be acquired by taking the route on the far left. So it's pretty much identical for all 4 notes through at least halfway through the dungeon. You follow the path forward as you would any other dungeon, defeating the mobs along the way. Once you're halfway through the dungeon, you will come across a first boss, which is going to be a shinobi. So just be careful with this one, the mechanics are different for all 3 routes. But after you defeat the first boss and continue onward, you will eventually reach a room that has 2 statues and a crystal ball waiting for you. So if you're looking for notes 1 and 2, do not interact with the statues at all. So just leave them be, and instead you interact with the crystal ball. That will open the door directly in front of you. Afterwards, you will be forced to face off against 2 separate mobs in the next couple rooms. After you end up finishing clearing off all the mobs, Hancock will run over to a case on the table near the stairs. So this is important. If you're looking for note 1, you have to wait until you can interact with the case. Once you do, the case, which is holding a sword, will close and the special seals will appear on the box. So for note 1, you need to interact with the case to close it, and then you continue on to the final boss. Note 2 is identical to note 1 until you reach the sword case. When Hancock runs over to inspect the case on the table, this time you ignore it. Don't go near it, instead just head up the stairs to face off with the final boss. That will get you note 2. Now, as for notes 3 and 4, it's the exact same route that you take until you reach the room with the 2 statues. So just think of this as the puzzle room. You need to interact with the statues before you can interact with the crystal ball. So when you interact with Suzaku's statue, you interact with it twice. This will cause the statue to keep turning until it's facing away from you and towards the door. Afterwards, you need to go ahead and interact with Seryu's statue just one time. This will turn the statue left towards Suzaku. After the 2 statues are rotated, you can interact with the crystal ball again, but this time a secret door will open up right next to you. Fight off the mobs on the roof, and you'll come across another room where there is going to be a very special mob waiting for you. So you can see this blue spirit creature waiting for you. This is the Appa. And you need to keep a very close eye on it because it's going to cast a room-wide AoE known as Water 3. So if you're looking for note 3, it's important that you let the Appa cast water 3. This will cause all the lanterns in the room to be extinguished. So focus on the other enemies while it's casting. As soon as the lanterns are out, you can go ahead and kill it and then move on to the final boss. For record 4, it is identical for record 3. However, this time, the Appa has to die immediately. You don't want to extinguish the lanterns. So as soon as you enter the room, kill the Appa before it casts water 3. And then once the rest of the mobs are down, you move forward. So remember. Okay, so let's go ahead and move back to the beginning where we're going to be taking the middle road. So the middle road is going to have notes 5 through 7 as well as note 12. Note 12 is important because that is going to be the way to unlock the secret boss, but we will be going back to that later. First, let's focus on 5 through 7. So for this particular round, you will be entering more of the major part of the temple. So as soon as you go through, you will just have to follow the path until you reach the front doors of the temple, which is going to hold the first boss. Just outside the front doors, there is going to be a rope right next to it, which you have a choice to pull or not. So pulling the rope is going to change a few mechanics to the first boss fight, and it will open up the path on the right after defeating them, but if you ignore the rope, it will lead to the left. Both of these routes will lead to the same destination, so it's really up to you whether or not you want to pull it. So for note 5, after you defeat the first boss, Hancock will immediately go on the right path. Just simply follow him. After you head up the stairs, defeating all the mobs on the way, you will come across a room that has this tiger screen. The tiger will emerge from the painting and attack. Once you defeat it, you're given a choice to either follow Hancock through the doors, or you can choose to jump on top of a tower of boxes conveniently set up in the shape of a staircase. We'll get to that in a moment. However, for note 5, it's important that you ignore that particular route and instead you just follow the more obvious one after Hancock. After defeating a few more mobs, you will come across this blocked passageway that has a white baboon. So after you defeat the mobs in front of him, you're given a choice to either kill the baboon or let him go. For note 5, it's essential that you spare the baboon, let him run off. Afterwards, you can go straight on to face the final boss. As for note 6, it's basically identical to note 5. So you just follow the path, follow Hancock straight through the door after defeating the tiger until you reach the part with the white baboon. This time, however, you need to choose the option to fight it. You will be forced to slay the baboon before you move straight on to the final boss, but that's how you get note 6. Note 7 is a little bit more complicated. Once you're here, ignore the rope and just continue on to fight with the first boss. Hancock will then choose the left path. You follow him straight up to the room that will take you to the tiger with the screen. This time, after the tiger dies, however, you have to instead jump on the tower of crates in the opposite side of the room. It's definitely a lot easier than jumping up on top of Kugane Tower, I will say that. So just follow the pathway straight up to a hidden loft area where you will find another woven rope. This time pull the rope, that will open up a special staircase for Hancock to join you. After he joins you, you will be ambushed by a group of lanterns. Simply slay the lanterns and just continue on to the final boss. I'll go back to discussing note 12 in just a moment, but instead let's go ahead and discuss notes 8 through 11, which can only be acquired through taking the path on the far right. So for this particular path, you simply start off as you would with the others. You just fight your way through all the mobs as you head up the mountain, but just before you reach the first boss, you're going to come across a tree that has a Dogu doll nestled inside it. You're given a choice to either take the Dogu doll with you or to just leave it as it is. If you're looking for notes 8 and 9, you have to ignore the Dogu doll. Just leave it up in the tree and just continue on as you normally would. As you defeat the first boss, Hancock should choose the left path afterwards. So as you make your way up the side of the mountain, you will come across these special stones of protection. If you're looking for note 8, you simply have to stop by each one of the stones and clear them off. There should be 4 stones in total. Once you reach the top of the mountain, you can go ahead and face the final boss. For note 9, it is identical. However, instead, this time you ignore the stones. Instead, you just go straight up the side of the mountain and just leave them as they is. As for notes 10 and 11, this time when you pass by the Dogu doll in the tree, you take it with you. After you defeat the first boss, Hancock should choose the path on the right. This will take you up to a little enclosure where there's going to be a rickety fence and a shrine. You ignore the fence and instead you perform a far eastern bow before the shrine. This will cause the doors to open up and you can place the Dogu doll inside. Afterwards, a tree is going to spring to life and create a bridge for you to continue to cross. After you defeat the mobs, you will come across a dead end, where you're given a choice to choose either between an ancient tree or a boulder. So both of these are going to fall over and form a bridge for you to face off against the final boss. However, if you're looking for note 10, you have to choose the boulder. If you're looking for note 11, then you have to choose the tree. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the 12th and final notes. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. But note 12, as well as the secret boss, is going to be unlocked through the middle path. This requires you to kind of go out of your way to unlock it. After you take the middle portal, you just fight your way through it until you reach the room with the tiger screen. This time you go back up the stairs of crates just before the final boss, and you pull the rope to bring Hancock up and release the lanterns. But this time, you do not kill them right away. Instead, you lure the enemies back downstairs through the newly opened path. Now, this is going to be the same room that has the tiger screen in it, and scattered throughout the room, you will find several different lanterns. So, when these lantern monsters are defeated, these enemies are going to make one last cone-shaped attack before they disappear. The goal is that you have to have those attacks hit one of the 3 lanterns in the room in front of the golden decorations on the walls. The best course of action is to simply pick off the enemies one by one while tanking the damage while the others dish out. I would definitely mark which ones that you're going to be killing off just so that everyone's on the same page. Because if all 3 of them die before all 3 lanterns are lit, then you basically have no choice but to give up going after the final boss. I have them all marked right here so that you know which 3 lanterns have to be lit. Once all 3 are lit, a 4th will start to glow on its own and create a passageway for you to move to a secret new area. This will lead you to the final boss. Once that's defeated and all 12 records are completed, you'll unlock the achievement Mononoke Pay, which gives you the special mounts as a reward to be claimed in the achievement menu. Okay, so that should be everything. I hope that I was as clear as possible for you guys. So if you're having trouble collecting all those notes, you can go ahead and just refer to each one down in the description below. And I know it's not an easy achievement to get. You do have to run through Mount Rokkon a total of 12 times minimum if you want to get all 12 notes, because you can't get multiple notes through each run. But I hope that you guys do have a good time, and I guess that's going to be it for now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!